review on a series by Ann Aguirre, and it's called the Corine Soloman series. Yes, I know it looks like it should be pronounced as Corinne, but in the book they let us know it's pronounced as Corine. Okay, so Ann Aguirre also does the Samantha Jack series, which I did a review on, and it wasn't very positive. But this series is better than Samantha Jack series, but unfortunately it's still not amazing. There are 3 books in this series so far, and the 4th one will be out I think next April 2012, and there's going to be a 5th one as well. So it's about Corine Soloman, and she has the ability, she's a handler, and when she holds an object, she has the ability to kind of absorb information about its history. So basically, who held it, what happened with it, and if it's a particularly bad memory, like say it's a murder weapon, the memory can be quite painful for her, and she has this kind of after effect where whatever she held in her hand, particularly metal, it left like a burn scar on her hand, so her hands are covered in these scars. And I was really interested and intrigued by the beginning of the book. So I was like, this sounds like, it could be really good, because her ex comes back and he manages to track her down, and he basically needs some help. And you can, it's interesting because you can tell like they have this like angst-filled history together, but they have to kind of put that aside and work together. But unfortunately, it kind of, like, parts of the writing and the story just brought this book down, or the series down. It takes place, a lot of it takes place in Mexico, so if you speak Spanish, it'll be helpful because there's lots of Spanish dialogue in it. So parts of the story are quite implicit, like, it's like the author wanted to leave us in the dark, like she liked to drag things out and leave us in the dark. Like I wanted certain things to be explained a bit more, because they were kept referenced to, but you didn't get a proper explanation about what happened until kind of a lot further on in the books. The story itself can be a bit all over the place. I know, like, lacks like a bit of cohesiveness and direction. I found myself skimming some parts, because basically it was just quite boring at times. Like it was like the author was told to add an extra 5,000 words to the book, so she would kind of add, like, basically bulk up unnecessary scenes. So just kind of fill out the word count. And like there was a scene where 2 of the characters, like a whole chapter dedicated to them discussing whether they should rent this kind of new apartment or this old creepy house. I was like, why is the author spending so much time with this scene? And other parts of the story felt like they were just thrown in for the sake of it. Like there was no real reason for it. Basically the plot could have been solved in half the book. But yeah, so that was a negative. Like the story just needed more direction, and every little thing that happens in the story has to have a plausible reason for it happening. It can't just be written in just to add in some, something exciting, or just to add in more words, like more chapters. That's just not really, that's not right. I didn't really like Corine as a main character. She didn't really have any, endearing quality. She was very selfish. Yeah, so I wasn't crazy about her. As I said, I did like the initial premise, and I love the after effects of using her power. I thought it was a really interesting element to the story. But I have never read a series with a more indecisive love triangle. Yes, there's a love triangle in here, and some people like them, some people don't. But if they're done well, they can be great, really exciting reads. If they're done bad, they're just irritating. And this one was just done really bad, just because it was so indecisive. Like as I said, Corine was kind of selfish, and basically for books she just kept going back and forth, pondering which male character would give up more for her, and she was just so indecisive. Like it wasn't even like realistic. Like in other books, when people don't know who to get with, you can understand they like each person. The author set up all the reasons why. But in this one, like on the one page, Corine would go from saying how much she's over guy A and she wants to move on, to then she'll go on and say, oh, she misses guy A and she can't stop thinking about him, and then she'll go on to say, oh, but guy B is her future and she wants to stay with him. All in the one page. She kept going back and forth. And like when the author built up to one couple in the whole book and you think, oh, they're going to get together, in the end she completely changed and spoke to the other person. It was like snap decisions, and that really bugged me. So yeah, I mean, there is a lot of negatives with this series, like with the writing itself, and actually the writing itself is okay, it's just the plot, like deciding what happens. So despite all these negatives though, the author did capture some interest in me because I do want to read the next book. I do want to find out what happens next. So that's basically my review. Would would I recommend this series? Yes and no. I mean, it's not the worst series out there, but there are a lot of negatives with the whole story and plot. So I've said this before. I'd recommend it to be at like kind of like the end of your to read kind of list. And if you don't get around to reading the series, it's fine. It's not going to be, you're not losing out. Okay, so that was my review, and now I'm going to move on to a more spoiler-filled review. So I'm not going to mention lots of kind of details and spoilers. So if you don't know what they are, please switch off now. Okay, so as I said, the author sometimes added kind of unnecessary scenes and parts of the plot just didn't make sense. Like for example, in the third book, Kel and Corine go on this kind of big trek across the jungle to try and get this hex or this kind of curse removed from a salt shaker. Why? I mean, all they have to do is destroy it. Like, they have much more important things to worry about, like someone trying to kill Corine. So, this was just an example of, like, there needed to be a proper reason behind it. And that was just an unnecessary trip, really. Also, why did Escobar have to put Corine through this major challenge to see if she was worthy as playing bait? Like, that's all he wanted her to be, bait. He didn't. It doesn't matter if she's worthy of it or not. I mean, it's not a really great role. That just didn't make sense in my head. I could not understand. Like, he wanted to work with someone worthy of, you know, someone worthy, but she was only playing bait. It doesn't matter. I mean, she could have died. It was nothing to him. So that was another just mind-boggling element of the plot. Onto the love triangle. Okay, so there was Chance and there was Jessie. And Corine and the author are so indecisive about it. I don't even know who I want her to get with. They're just, oh, she's just up and down and up and down. And then, as well, oh yeah, she did kind of like a forgetting spell on Shannon and Jessie. And she really, is it just me, or does she accept the consequences of that fairly easily? She didn't even try to reverse the spell. She was just like, oh, that's that. I might as well get a chance now, because Jessie doesn't even remember me. She didn't really give it a try, did she, there? Oh yeah, what is with Bookie? He was just another thing, just thrown in there, a character. Like, there's something about him, and it's not like the author intrigued us and like, ooh, what's his deal? He's just kind of, he's not really interesting. And it's just those dream things just to get a bit far-fetched. And I just think the author needs to just cut him out. There's enough characters without bringing him in. And Kel, I was shocked when Kel kind of became a possible love interest. Like, we didn't need another one. But I suppose he had some redeeming qualities, but it was just the fact that he, initially when he came into it, he was described as kind of like a sociopathic murderer, and then he's kind of like a noble angel. Like, that whole angel thing was another way too far-fetched thing. It should just, the author should have just stuck with the basic element of magic and power instead of going that whole religious route. I'm never crazy about that kind of angel thing anyway, so I wasn't pleased with that choice. So that's my review. As I said, it's fair, like there's lots of little points in the plot that just really bugged me. But I mean, I do want to find out what happens next. I probably will read the fourth one. Um, I mean, I'm not like chomping on the bit to read it at the moment, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And yeah, I'd like to know what you think of it, and if you'd recommend it. I'm not sure I would. That's my review. So thank you very much for watching. Tune in to my next one.